it off. Okay, everybody, super excited. I have Ben Pesoke. Pesoke, thank you.
Yeah.
And Matt, and these two guys are Ben is the founder of Sierra Interactive, and then Matt joined him in a business partnership relationship, and they can kind of explain a little bit of that. The reason why I have these two guys on today is because I want everyone to understand what SEO is actually and how we can leverage SEO and their platform into the future to create an asset for our real estate business. If you are planning on being in the industry and in this business for the next 5 to 10 years, then it would be a huge mistake for you to not understand SEO and how to build this asset online with a website. So I have the two best guys in the industry that I could personally find. So let's kick it off quickly with Ben. Ben, could you share just maybe a quick brief about your background and kind of the process of creating Sierra Interactive?
Absolutely, yes. So Sierra Interactive, we've been in business now for 12 years, founded back in 2008. And we originally started primarily with initially back in 2008, it was a lot easier, right? So we were building much more customized websites, longer setup process with a big focus on content optimization. And for the first 4 or 5 years we were in business, many of the agents we were working with saw huge returns from SEO. It was a different world back then in 2010 than it is today in 2020. And people today commonly think that SEO is no longer a viable business strategy, right? That for several reasons. One is the way that Google has changed the search results when people are searching in Google. The other is the dominance of the big players. Realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, Mavoto. The first page of many search results are dominated by those big players. And many people have sort of thrown up their hands, no longer a viable way to generate business.
Yeah, I would say that most agents also are looking for a lead. They're looking for lead acquisition, and they're looking for a quick way to get lead acquisition. And the only big player that's been successful with delivering reasonably good leads has been Zillow, and everybody else has been a train wreck. And and so we'll deal with that in a minute. But I think most of the agents and most of the people who are selling websites, they're just like dismissing SEO as even a strategy. And I find, Ben, it's mostly due to none of them know what the heck they're talking about. Right? And
absolutely.
So today would be great, I want, is some more, anecdotal evidence of kind of what is some of that success for today, right? So you started this bad boy 12 years ago, and I've seen, obviously, I've got a chance to see some of your work, Ben, with some very, very successful agents, and that's really opened my eyes to be more confident about going all in with the strategy. So it's been hugely helpful. Matt, let's hear from you. Kind of what is your, if I remember correctly, you were with one of the big SEO websites and then popped over with Ben, and give us a little bit of background and context for who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, so my business partner and I have on the real estate side, have a real estate team up in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Invested, I would say, one of the early adopters on the web. Really mindset-wise, we had a focus of going huge with all of this into the Twin Cities metro area, which is, 4 or 5 million people, which is probably mistake number one.
Yeah.
is don't go after a huge market, because you're going to get leads, and then you're going to have to develop a team around a big market. And there's some positives, probably more negatives with that and doing that. So put a lot of money into the web early on. And the problem that we had is we started generating a lot of leads. And with that comes, how do you manage those leads? How do you convert those leads?
Yep.
Tried to put together kind of a custom solution, and just ended up not being able to get that figured out for long term. So we found Sierra back in, I think it was 03, 04 is when we moved all of our web assets over to Sierra. Have one database now that we work leads out of. Our agents can call through the CRM. All of the management is in one CRM, which is huge. We're now funneling, I think it's 7 or 8 sites into the CRM and working all the leads out of that. And,
nice.
and really Sierra had an right out of the box solution for that. There was no customizations that had to be made. And so that's why we ended up moving to Sierra quite a long time ago.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Same thing. I'm very, I'm enjoying the CRM aspect of this thing. So let's jump into some SEO conversations, and we'll hang in there for everybody. So
yeah,
what do you guys see, and Matt, you alluded to I think one of the big mistakes agents make with their website. It's the first decision, that is, how am I going to create, like, what geographic territory am I going to serve? And I find that there's, like, agents don't know how to make that decision. And I think if you're going to go in the SEO route, you really need to actually think that one through, right? So, going too broad is a disaster. And I remember and I did that right away, right? I had the same story as yours, Matt. I went too broad. And then what was funny was when I was buying Google AdWords leads from my service provider, they were really pushing me to get more leads for homes for sale in San Diego. But San Diego is a city of the city of San Diego, where San Diego County is this.
Right.
And I'm up here in North County, and I want more of the North County niche market, which is a higher end market. But they wanted to sell me more of those San Diego city leads. And it was just a disaster, right? So, I really think that, decision number one is, where do you want to serve? And Ben, maybe for today, one of the quick questions is it seems like Google will reward you if you niche down. You'll get higher rewards if you niche down, and you have less competition if you niche down. So maybe, is there any advice that you guys would give kind of in this first decision around, what do I do with my real estate website, and how do I make a good decision from the beginning? Any mistakes you guys see in this category, or best advice?
One mistake that we see consistently is that agents place too much focus on the domain name. So they have this idea, right, that if I can get the perfect domain name, which includes the perfect set of keywords, all of a sudden I'm going to be number one on Google.
Yeah.
That is completely incorrect.
Yeah, totally.
So domain names are, we could talk for an hour about domain names, but the domain name itself is not as important as what you do after you get it.
Yeah.
That's one of the big mistakes we see a lot.
Right.
The other thing I would say too is people go after the golden term, which is giant city real estate,
right,
or giant city homes for sale. And I would say that was us very early on. We were going after Minneapolis real estate. I mean, and we did quite well. To come in nowadays and go after a keyword like that is just going to be a disaster. You're going to be digging forever, and you're never going to get to any gold. And so what I see now being highly effective for us, and I can actually, go through some of this and show you kind of real examples here, is getting a focus, whether it be at a county level or a couple suburb level, or a couple neighborhoods within your community, somewhere with 100,000, 200, 300,000 people, I would say kind of on the max side of things.
Nice.
Is go really, really tight in as far as an area goes, a population, and then go deep as far as where people are, how they're searching online. Let me show you a quick example here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. And what led me, one of the decisions that led me to Sierra Interactive was I was working on a geographic farm, and I moved into a city called Solana Beach. Now it's a small city, but my sales volume is really high. And for me, and I was thinking, for me to try and compete in this city, it would cost me, $5,000 to $10,000 a month in direct mail to pull this off. And then I called Zillow, and it cost me like $4,000 to $5,000 a month just to get 1 or 2 quality buyer leads. And so I was like, why don't I just build a website for SEO and dominate Google and dominate content marketing? Because there's 200 sales a year in this market, and the average sales price is 1.5 million. So who cares? And I'm planning on living here forever. I'm raising my kids and family here. Like, why don't I just dominate this one city? And that's, I built that site with Sierra, and it's super exciting because I can now see that I can actually build for the long term and generate plenty of business and leads just for my effort, right? We refer to it as sweat equity, not check equity, right? So I'm with Matt. And I really like the way you said that with the 100 to 200,000, because I think you're totally right on that.
Absolutely.
I'm even going smaller, but my sales volume makes it worth it, right? So,
exactly.
So I would say population or number of sales or sales volume, you really got to kind of look at those numbers. Because I have another team member where there was 64 sales in a small niche community. It's inside of one zip code is a community, and there was 64 sales last year in that community, and probably the average sales price is $1 million. So,
right.
Like, who cares? You don't need all of North County. You don't even actually need the whole zip code. If we just dominated your 64 and we got, 10% to 20% market share, you'd have a really nice living for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Right. So people need to think these kind of, instead of, this huge thing, we need to start thinking about some of these niches. So Matt, I'll shut up. Keep going.
Yeah. I might need you to accept a screen share. Can you?
I can see it, Matt.
I can see it too, actually.
Oh, you can see the screen. Okay, perfect. I just couldn't see it on my end. So here's a county level website that we put together. This is honestly out of the box. We put this online as just kind of a test to show people that SEO is not dead. You can really dominate on some tighter niche key terms here. So here we've got a Washington County website. This is the last 28 days. We've got 1,200 visitors, okay, in those 28 days. So let's just do the math on 30 days. You've got 40 visitors per day on this website.
Right.
If you are a single agent, you can feed your family off this much traffic on your website. You honestly, this is a lot. This is all organic search. This is no paid search. And here's where the buyers are searching. So school district, Matamidi. Okay, we've got school district, South Washington County. These are school districts within the county. Okay, let's just go check this out here. This is a Google search, homes for sale in the Matamidi School District. This is how people are finding this website. We're number 1. Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, all secondary. Yep. So we've got the number 1 site for organic search for people searching for homes for sale in just the school district. Zillow it's going to be challenging for them to kind of get down into that level because they can't do geo maps usually. You can do it by elementary school, you could do it by middle school, you could do it by high school.
So take us back to the stats, because that's a perfect example. Let's go. So you got roughly 1,200 visitors. And this is one of the key questions, because we'll have to do a second round of this just because I'll run out of time.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the key questions that I think I've seen some mistakes, and Ben, you might want to chime in here, is I've seen some websites since I've been doing this research with all my clients across the country, where I go homes for sale in, or I go real estate in, and I go from, I've looked at, 50 different marketplaces in the US, and I see some websites ranking really high in the search organically. And then I go on there and I click through 3 listings and I never get asked to be registered. And then I never get retargeted. And I'm like, this agent spent a fortune and a lot of effort to get here and is completely missing the game. So
That's absolutely right.
So I want to, before we address that, Matt, what on that 1,200, using the school district strategy, which is brilliant, right? And I think everyone can relate to that. What type of kind of lead registration, how does that kind of translate into a lead roughly? Because it's a good example of that.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is with this type of lead that you're going to get is you've got a consumer that comes across the website and first off, they feel like what you're talking about because you've got homes for sale in a specific school district. So you're automatically putting yourself at a higher authority right out of the gate. And the conversations are a lot better because you can see what page they came off of. So you can immediately, your follow-up can be focused around, hey, I heard you were, I saw you're looking for homes in the Matamidi school district. I help a lot of people in that school district. Here's what I typically do from a process standpoint. I want to learn a little bit more about what you're looking for as far as homes for sale in that school district. Are you looking for single family homes or are you looking for a townhome?
Yeah, slam dunk. That's
all you can.
So take us back to the numbers. So
sure.
If I'm, just for, because I know, smart agents are always looking for the numbers, right?
Right.
So this is like a genius example, right? Super crystal clear. Every agent can pull this off. And so I'm at, you're at 1,200 visitors organic per month. What does that mean in terms of maybe registrations or kind of a rough lead flow? What does that look like?
Sure. I mean, traditionally on that kind of lead flow, you can easily get, 2, 3, 4, 5 leads a day, sometimes more. And, again, if you're, looking at even
That's
converting
a lot, by the way. Yeah. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about anywhere between 30 to 60 leads registering on your website per month from this organic strategy.
Absolutely, even more. I mean, traditionally you could likely sell, depending on how you convert it, at web leads. And again, it's all in the follow-up.
Yeah. People suck at well, I don't even want to go there because that's way too big of a topic.
Exactly.
Right. So I just want to
these are high intent leads.
Yeah. I wanted to say
these are high converting leads for sure, because you can focus in on just what that consumer is looking for. If they're looking in a school district or,
totally.
Here's a neighborhood. I mean, homes for sale in a specific neighborhood. This is probably, 600-700 house neighborhood. And if you think about it and kind of the way Sierra works as far as, sourcing the leads and the follow-up, you can put specific strategies together to follow up just for a specific neighborhood or just for a specific school district that's actually automated. A lot of this stuff can be automated. Your reach out to the consumer. That's what, makes the great recipe here. You get the leads.
Yeah, we'll talk about leads. Yeah, I don't want to stay away from, following up on leads. That is not today. But the school district and the neighborhood level, this is where really I think the game begins for the modern SEO strategy. If you have a niche if you have a school district, you have a neighborhood, we can compete against the big players, suck up that traffic. So Ben, could you address with me the mistake that I am seeing in my analysis across the board with all my clients when I'm going homes for sale in Newport Beach, California? This is right. And I find, and they're here at the top on page 1 is some agent's website. And I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And I go in there and I look at their website, flip around on some different stuff, and I never get converted and I never get remarketed. So Ben, could you address, from a website technical standpoint, what's happening here? Like what people,
it's actually really,
people have built these big SEO websites and are making no money.
It's really interesting, Patrick. And the
Matt,
main reason
get rid
for
of
that.
the screen share so we can just see.
Yeah.
Up. There we go.
The main reason for that is that if you're talking about something like homes for sale in Newport Beach, California, the agents who are ranking well for a term like that started 10 years ago. And oftentimes they put a site up 10 years ago. They did the content work 10 years ago. And so they are on an older platform, which actually doesn't support the kind of modern registration techniques you need to capture those leads. That's the problem. A lot of times they're still on a WordPress site or something they built quite a long time ago that isn't equipped to capture those leads.
Yeah.
And that's one area where we really tried to focus as well. Not only being able to help our clients rank well organically, but also giving them the tools they need to capture those leads once they get the traffic.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. And I've seen some companies where I think the agent, in the agent's mind, they're like, oh, I don't want to register them right away when they're looking at a listing. And I went through that myself. I kind of was like, oh, well, maybe I'll do it 1, 2, 3 listings because I don't want to, so what is your thought about this? It's, there's a lot of mistakes of the old websites. And then I see even some of the modern websites where they, maybe in the last 5 years or 7 years, they've built something that's pretty extraordinary and they're not converting. Like, what is your kind of thought process around this? If we're going to get all this traffic to the site and they're going to start looking at listings, help me understand kind of this mistake that everybody's making.
Absolutely. People think that it's going to impact their rankings if they're forcing registration early on. And to be honest, there's a little bit of validity. The platform needs to have a certain amount of flexibility in terms of when you capture that lead and what traffic. In our platform, we have flexibility that allows you to kind of turn on and off registration on a case-by-case basis. So that if you're driving a lead to, say, a blog post that you created about restaurants for sale in Newport Beach, you may not want to capture that traffic immediately, but if someone's coming directly to a property listing, you absolutely do want to force registration on that.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that. I mean, it's killing me because I'm like, as someone who cares about real estate agents and their investments and what they've done, when I see this, it's just like, it's tragic, right? It's just like people have lost a fortune because their website provider really didn't understand the game. They did all the hard work with the SEO, and here they are getting nothing from it. And I've seen it over and over and over and over again. It's actually really bad. So, I got to jump with you guys. So this was helpful. Let's do another round of this, right? But I think, what we want to do is really, let's take a look at a couple more examples. Matt, those 2 examples were perfect. Let's look at some more examples of what agents could do with SEO into the future. And so thank you guys for your time. I got to jump, but let's do this again and we'll have some more fun with this.
Thanks,
Patrick.
Patrick.
Appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.